Hey y'all, we're Gary and Jen. We just got back from Margaritaville at Sea Paradise. Was it smooth sailing or rough waters?
So as Jen said, we just recently got back from sailing on the Margaritaville at Sea Paradise. Prior to this cruise, we had never heard of Margaritaville cruise lines before. We were familiar with the Margaritaville bar and restaurant, but nothing as far as a cruise line. How we ended up hearing about this, I was in a Facebook group back in September of 2022, and somebody posted saying, hey, Margaritaville at Sea is offering this free promotion called Heroes Sail Free. And what it was those who are active duty military veterans, law enforcement, first responders, and educators, they could get a free cruise. So we were like, hey, free cruise, let's look into that. So we went on there, and basically what it was for the quote, quote, hero, they just paid the port fees and taxes, and then the other person sailing with them paid the regular rate. So we went in there, looked at the price. It was very reasonable, and so we went ahead and booked. It was a real easy booking process. Everything was done online. You got an email confirmation, and it even included your room assignment. So it said we had not heard of them before, so after booking, we went online and started doing a little research. We found out that Margaritaville at Sea is actually a pretty new cruise line. It was a partnership formed back in December of 2021, and they did their first sailing back in May of 2022.
So when we did our research, we read a lot of reviews and watched a bunch of YouTube videos, and there were not a lot of great reviews. Most of them were highly critical. So we went in with kind of low expectations, just looking to have a good time.
So as far as how the cruise goes, for the embarkation process and all, Margaritaville at Sea sails out of the Port of Palm Beach. They're the only cruise lines there, so that's a positive. There's not tons of people that you're having to fight to get on ships and all. The only option they have for parking is valet parking. It's $22 a night, so being a 2-night cruise, it's $44 for parking. Basically, once you turn your car over, you take your bags, you drop them off, and then you head upstairs for the check-in process.
So checking in was pretty smooth. If you have all your documents ready before you get up to the counter, like your birth certificate, passport, ID, that stuff, it makes it go pretty quick. We went through the line in about an hour. While we were in line, they started boarding, which was early. So by the time we got through that, we had to watch a quick muster video or safety video. And then we also were able to get our drink package. You can book any excursions, things like that before you even get on the ship.
Yeah, and I'm not quite sure why they did a muster or safety video prior to getting on, because you have to go through a muster drill once you're on the ship. I think maybe it's something they set up so just to take some time to make it less crowded when you're getting on the ship.
I never thought of that.
So as far as the ship itself, it's an older ship. It was actually commissioned by Costa Cruise Lines back in 1991. So it's a 32-year-old ship, and it's a small ship. It actually holds less than 1,700 people. And when we went on there, it was maybe 500 or 600 people on there. So it was by no means anywhere close to being full. So that was actually very nice. It was, easy to get around on the ship. It wasn't crowded.
Yeah, and once we were on the ship and we were walking around, we were able to find our cabin pretty early. A few things that we had noticed from the complaints that people had made, like one was the walls were kind of...
They talked about the condition of the ship.
Yeah, and like they said, the walls were worn and things like that. Now, there was some wear and tear, but it's a 30-year-old ship, so it was nothing unexpected. It looked to us like it was kept up pretty good. Another big complaint was the green indoor-outdoor carpet on the deck. It is there on the top deck, but it was in really good condition. and it kept our feet from getting burned on the deck, and I didn't see anything wrong with it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it kind of went with that outdoorsy feel, for Margaritaville. So I didn't have a problem with it. And like Jen said, I mean, we went early in the year, and it was over 80 degrees outside. So I can imagine what that deck would feel like, during the summertime when it's 100+ degrees outside. I mean, it's definitely people I think would appreciate it then. So as far as the rooms, one of the main complaints we had seen prior to getting on the ship was people were saying they were out of date and not fancy, and nothing had changed with them in the 32 years. And I'm not quite sure what people expect to change on a room. A room's a room. Once they're built onto the ship, unless they knock a wall out or something like that. I mean, it's going to be the same. When we went in there, went into our room, it was tastefully themed. The wallpaper was like of the Caribbean and had the different islands and all that. So sort of matched cruising. I don't know whether that was still there from Costa, but it looked like it was newly refurbished. So I didn't have any problem with the way the room looked.
One thing that I didn't like about the room is that so we had the beds pushed together, and they didn't put a topper or anything on it. So every time I'd roll over, I'd fall right in the crack between the beds, and it was kind of like, geez.
I mean, in general, the room, there was plenty of room in it. There was plenty of storage space, cabinets and all that to hang your clothes. Being a 2-night cruise, we didn't even take the stuff out of our luggage because I really didn't see a need for it. So to me, there was plenty of room. You had the bed, you had a seating area. They could have used a few more plugs, but we've learned to bring our own extension cord with USB. And
I feel like that's most cruises. They don't have a lot of places to plug things up.
So we came prepared. So that was something minor for us. As far as room wise, the only major complaint I had about it was it seemed a little stuffy in there. All of the rooms just about on the ship are either ocean view or inside cabins. They do have a few balcony, or they're VIP or suite rooms that have a balcony on them, but there are very few of those. So it got a little stuffy in the room, and so I had no way of like opening a door or something to get a breeze in there. I don't know if that was just our room, because the people we took a cab ride over to Freeport, they said their room was freezing. So it might have just been our cabin, but for 2 nights, it wasn't something to worry about getting maintenance to come down and take a look at. Bathrooms, I mean, bathroom was very good size. I thought it was huge. It had a lot of counter space, plenty of space to take a shower or use the restroom. Like, it wasn't cramped or crowded. No, the only real issue I had with it was the shower curtains were not the full length down. The shower actually sits down into the floor, so all the water should drain down into there. But the shower curtains were about 6 inches shorter than that, so water would just run down and run into the floor of the bathroom. It was like a wet bathroom. It was set up so if any water spilled out, it would be caught in a drain and all that. But I think you could pretty much have prevented that just by having a little bit longer shower curtain. But that was really the only complaint that I had about the bathroom. Like Jen said, it was plenty of room in there. So as far as food and drink, the Margaritaville at Sea Paradise has a couple of options, both included with your cruise as well as pay. For the first thing they have a buffet, which is included, called the Port of Indecision.
That was all right. We got to go there pretty much as soon as we got on the ship. They had it open. It didn't stay open late either night. I'd say probably closed down sometime between 8 and 9. Didn't have a huge assortment of choices. There was like a little carving station, a little salad bar, burgers and hot dogs, some sandwich stuff, and then it had like maybe an international dish.
They did 3 meals on that. They did a breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Personally, I think the breakfast was the lowest point food-wise on the cruise. They had stuff like eggs and turkey sausage and a little bacon, and a lot of fruit, which the fruit was really good. Pancakes and French toast, and I love French toast, but I went to eat it and it was like eating a hockey puck. It almost bent my fork. It was so hard.
I thought if you dropped it on the plate, it was going to break the plate.
Yeah. So I went back for fruit, and as I said, the fruit was really good, but breakfast was probably the low point. Their burgers and hot dogs were really good, and they were, they were filling during lunchtime for wanting something quick to eat. As far as the main dining room, it's called Finn's. It's only open at night, and it was really good to me.
I thought it was fantastic. We didn't have a bad thing in there. The menu changed both nights, so you didn't have to choose from the same options. And we figured with a 2-day cruise that it was going to be the same options both nights, and it was not. The food was amazing, the appetizers were great, and our server was beyond awesome.
Yes, the whole staff in the dining room was great. Your drinks never ran out. They were keeping you filled up. And like she said, I thought that was great. That being a short cruise, usually they'll serve the same thing both nights, but they had a completely different menu each night, so that was great. And on the second night, they had this thing called the eggplant involtini. If you go on the cruise or have been on it and didn't try it, and you go again, definitely try it. It was one of the best things I tasted on the cruise, and I'm a meat eater, and it was. I don't know if it was vegan or not, but it was great, and I definitely recommend that. As far as specialty dining options, they have a steakhouse there called JWB Prime Steakhouse. We didn't choose it just because being a short cruise and the different menus in the main dining room, we decided to just eat in the main dining room. And also, a steakhouse, we can do that pretty much at home. So it wasn't anything different than what we could get at home. So, but I think they do offer a paid breakfast option also, which might have been better than the buffet. so might want to think about that, or if we go again on it, we think about that.
But we only did breakfast
the
one
second day.
So
yeah, I don't know if it improved on the debarkation day, but yeah, we weren't really going to try it. They also have another area called 5 O'Clock Somewhere Bar and Grill. We didn't even realize that was there until we got back home and we're looking up stuff for our video and just making sure we covered everything. It's back in a bar area, and we thought the whole area was just the bar.
We thought it was the bar, and there were people out there with plates of food, but we had figured they brought it from the buffet because it was literally right outside on the deck, right outside of where the buffet was.
Yeah, but apparently they offer things like burgers and fries and like conch fritters. So, but like I said, we can't tell you any idea how it looked because we didn't even pay attention that it was a restaurant, but it is also a pay option. They do have another place. It's a pizza place called Frank and Lola's. And again, it's a specialty dining that you have to pay extra for. We saw a few people with pizzas from there, and it looked really good. But again, it cost extra, and that was sort of a disappointment to me because I'm used to, late night on a cruise ship, and you're wanting to grab something quick to eat. Usually they have a pizza place open that you can go to from some of the other cruise lines I've been on. So the fact that you had to pay for it was a little disappointing, but.
They also did have a specialty coffee and adult ice cream spot. And I wish we would have tried that, but time just got away from us. But it looked really good, and we heard really good things about it.
And adult ice cream,
Who can go wrong?
So as far as drinks, there are a couple of options that you get that are included with the price of your cruise. You get like water, tea. They do have some fruit punches and juices that you can get. Anything else like sodas, you have to pay extra for or get a drink package. I think the soda drink package was about $25 that you do. They also had a drink package for alcoholic drinks, which was $100 for 10 drinks. Otherwise, you could buy them individually. And
they average between $10 and $15 a drink.
So they also had this thing called the blender drink, which you get a little cool cup like this. It was kind of interesting on how they did that, because we ended up getting the drink package. We had originally not planned on drinking at all, just because it was a 2-day cruise and we didn't want to pay all the extra for the drinks. But then we asked them.
Margaritaville, you gotta.
Yeah, I know. So we decided to, especially because we asked them with the drink ban. We're like, hey, can most cruise lines, if one person drinks, the other person in the room has to get the drink package as well. So we were like, hey, do you have to each person get a drink ban? And they're like, no, you can share it however you want to. So we're like, okay, cool. So we went ahead and got the drink ban, and we're like, we'll split the drinks for the cruise and have a couple. And as far as the blender drinks, when we got that, we're like, okay, it's about 2 normal drink sizes. So we're like, we'll get one of the blenders so we can do that and just use up our bans 2 at a time. And so we get there and they're like, no, the first time you have to buy your drinks outright, and then you have to pay for the $10 for the blender cup. So it wound up being over $50 for 2 drinks to get the blenders for each of us. Mm-hmm. And then when you go back to get a refill on it, they use one of your drink credits, and then you have to pay $7 additional. So we drank the first day, then come back and we've got like 8 drink credits that we have to drink on the second day. So we're like, yeah, we're not going to spend any extra to fill the blender. So we got a souvenir cup out of it, but definitely keep that in mind. If you decide to do like the blender, you're going to have to pay outright for the drinks in the first place, and then additional each time you refill it.
Yeah, and I think if we do this cruise again, what we would do is probably just each get a drink package. I mean, you get like 8-ounce drinks with that, but it's still probably would have been better than paying for everything separately.
Because especially the fact, if we could have used 2 drink credits and got the blender drink filled, that would have been okay. But the fact it's only using 1 and then having to pay basically for close to the cost of a second drink, I didn't quite understand the purpose of it.
They were good though, not gonna lie.
Yeah. So entertainment on the ship. One of the biggest complaints that we saw when we were looking at the reviews and watching the videos is people said there was nothing to do on this ship. I'm not sure what ship they sailed on.
That was a lie.
Yeah.
There was so much stuff, we didn't even know where to begin. And it was like one thing after the other. Like we went nonstop from the time we woke up until the time we went to bed.
Yeah, we're sitting in our living room filming this because we had planned to do it on the ship, but we really didn't have time to stop because there was always something going on and we were wanting to see it, so we didn't have time to stop and film for this video.
There was live music almost the entire time we were on the ship, that I saw anyway, whether it was someone in a lounge or someone out, a band playing on the deck. There was a DJ quite often, so there was always some kind of music.
Yeah, and the entertainment started from the time I would say the time you got on the ship, there was live music playing, but they did a sail away party where people, they had the live band out there, people were doing Congo lines, the limbo. I mean, it was just a lot of fun. People in the pools, playing cornhole, just always something to do. And so the main show they had on the ship was called Tales from Margaritaville. It was a live show they did. It had the live band with it. It was, I think, 4 performers in it. And they did an awesome job. They were doing all the popular Jimmy Buffett songs like 5 O'Clock Somewhere, Margaritaville, Cheeseburger in Paradise. So it was a lot of fun watching the show.
Yeah, and some other things they had going on. Also, they did like a dating game show. There was a comedy show both nights. The first night was family friendly. The second night was adults only, although I feel like the family friendly was definitely the better. But they were both amazing shows. The comedian on there was A-Train, and if you can hit that when you're on there, we highly recommend it.
Yeah, he was extremely funny, and I agree. I thought the PG show was better than the adult show, but they were both great. And also, while we were waiting to see A-Train the first night, They have like a little piano lounge outside, and there was a guy named John Massey who's also in the band. He's the pianist, and I think he's actually the musical director for the ship, but he was absolutely fantastic.
Extremely entertaining, and he could play any song that was requested, and I just thought he was phenomenal.
Yeah, we while we were waiting for A Train, we caught about 3/4 of his show, and it was so good that we actually went back the second night to see his whole show.
Yeah, definitely not disappointing.
They also, in some of the lounges and all that, they had things going on. In the Euphoria Lounge, which was the biggest lounge they have, they always had either like live music or a DJ. In the evening when we were in there, they were doing line dancing lessons. A lot of people were just having, after dinner and stuff was over, people were just in there having fun. And then, like I was saying earlier, I was having a little trouble, with the temperature in the room. So I got up to go grab some water. And so I wandered around the ship pretty late. And I found they have a casino on there called the Paradise, which I thought was funny for Margaritaville themed. Not a lot in it. We went back in the second night just to check it out. There are a lot of video poker, slot machine things.
Like a handful of slots and a handful of tables. So nothing grand, but it's there if you wanted to use it.
Yeah, there weren't a lot of people in it. Like some of the cruise ships we've been in where the casino is packed. This one, it was a few people in there, but that wasn't the main attraction in the evening. People were, again, so much to do on the ship, they were finding other things to do. And also in the Oasis Lounge, it was probably 1 o'clock in the morning when I went wandering around. They had a nightclub set up, and so people were dancing like at a regular nightclub. So like all hours of the day, there was stuff for people to do. Mm-hmm. So the debarkation process actually went pretty smooth. For the most part, you can stay in your room up to, I think it was about 9:30, and at that point they make you get out of your room and you have to go sit somewhere else on the ship, like in one of the lounges. But if you have your passport, and highly recommend having the passport, you almost could, as soon as they started announcing you could get off the ship, you could go down and get out. If you had your birth certificate and identification, you had to wait to get off the ship.
So it was, we didn't have to wait too awful long. And when they told us it was all right for us to go down and get off the ship, like by, I'm going to say maybe 15, 20 minutes to get through line. And that was with the birth certificate because I didn't have my passport. But by the time we got through the line and got out to the parking lot and the valet brought us our truck, we were on the road probably by 10:30 in the morning. So it's a pretty quick process no matter which way you look at it.
Yeah, it was probably less than 2 hours from the time they started debarking the ship until we were headed home.
And we were, I believe, one of the last ones off the ship.
Yeah. The only two little things that I have about that, and I won't say they're major complaints. One, when we went down to the Euphoria Lounge to sit and wait, I don't know if they had some kind of water leak or something spilled, but they had these blower fans out, and it was pretty loud in there. So it was a little bit hard to hear the announcements they were making when it was your time to get off the ship. And the other thing, it's not really a complaint, it's to be mindful of. The night before you get off, they'll slide a little note under your door telling you about this app that Customs and Border Protection has that can help speed up the process of getting off the ship. It doesn't work, they don't use it, so don't waste your time, like I found out. So just don't even pay attention to that, and Margaritaville at sea can save the trees and all that by not even printing them, because there's no need for it. So, what did you think about the cruise? Smooth sailing or rough waters?
I'm going to say smooth sailing. We had a really good time. I don't know if going in with the lower expectations helped, but they succeeded everything that we had thought. They went above and beyond. The staff and every person working on that ship always had a smile and were always friendly, happy to answer questions, happy to help you in any way. They tried to get everybody involved, and I wish it had been longer because we had a really good time and 2 days went too fast.
Yeah, I definitely would say smooth sailing as well. We paid with my port fees and taxes and her port fees and taxes. we paid $325 to book the cruise. So you definitely can't beat that. You can't get a hotel room and pay for dinner for basically 3 days and 2 nights for that price. Just some things to be mindful of, that they are going to have some additional fees, probably another $100 or so. They did a fuel surcharge on us of $12 a person per day. I think that was just because of the low occupancy on the ship. You also have to pay for gratuities, which is about $15 per person per day. So you'll spend probably another $100, not including any kind of specialty restaurants or drinks.
Drinks, excursions.
I mean, so what would you say, what would be the maximum you would pay to go on it?
For the 2-night, I would say probably $400 to $500.
Yeah, I don't think I would go over $500 for 2 people on it. I think it's when you start getting over that, there are some other cruise line options you can look at that have longer cruises for that amount. I also would say I wouldn't go out of my way to book this. Being only a 2-night cruise, it goes by super fast. We live in South Carolina. It took us about 7 hours to drive down there to get to Palm Beach. And we wound up coming down the night before, so we had to get a hotel room prior to that. And as with any cruise lines, I would suggest you coming in the day before. That way, if there's any kind of delays and you getting there, you don't wind up missing your ship. But if you live in Florida or going to Universal Studios or Disney or something like that, or and just want to go on a cruise to add to it, I highly would recommend doing it. Couple of things that not really complaints about, or things that we observed that they probably need to work on a little bit. In the main theater, these I guess are possibly showing the age with the ship. In the main theater, it was a little weird. The chairs, they kind of felt like you didn't want to.
It was like they were angled down. So you'd sit in the chair and you'd have to readjust about every 90 seconds or so because you felt like you were just going to fall right out of the chair onto the floor.
I don't know if that was because they've been there for 32 years. So, or when they when they made it, they intended for you to not hang around for the next show or something. So you'd have a turnover and get the next group in there for the next show. But so that was a little weird. In general, I don't know if it's a work in progress, because when we went on it, it was 8 or 9 months after their first sailing. So I don't know if they're going along. A couple of the places were dated, like the lounges, like Euphoria and Oasis. They
were well maintained.
Yeah, they were well maintained, but like the chairs looked like they didn't match the theme of Margaritaville. No. So they were.
They kind of came out of the 80s.
Yeah. So it kind of looked like it was. That's something that they could update, but in general, for the price that we paid on it, I mean, and if they kept that, definitely would do it again.
Absolutely.
So if you've ever been on Margaritaville at Sea Paradise, we'd love to hear what you thought of it. Just leave your thoughts in the comments below, and also be sure to like our video, subscribe to our channel, and click the little notification bell so you'll know whenever we upload a new video. Thanks for watching our video. See y'all later.
Bye, y'all.